Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm Ana Clara Faria. I'm a journalist from Curitiba, Brazil, and I'm a part of this network of more than 21,000 climate reality leaders from more than 150 countries who help spread the message about climate change and the issues related to social, economic, cultural and political effects of global warming in our planet. I attended the Climate Reality Leadership Corps training in Atlanta in 2019 because I wanted to have the best resources and make new connections and friendships so that I could integrate that experience to my journalistic work. I have a blog called Info Sustentável, which is focused on sharing information about environmental issues and its effects in my country and also around the world. Um, this month, Climate Reality Project launched 24 Hours of Reality Countdown to the Future, a digital event that featured 24 hours of virtual presentations that explored some of the most pressing issues of our time, such as climate change, the impacts of the COVID-19 global pandemic, and racial injustice. Now, as an effort to keep sharing valuable information about how we can make a change and help make the future we want, I'm delivering a climate realities presentation called Truth and Sin. I hope you enjoy it. And once again, thank you for joining me in this conversation. So let's get started. Let me share my screen here. Share my screen. So, okay. So let's start with this beautiful picture of our planet. This image is known as blue marble, and it was taken on the last of the Apollo missions, the Apollo 17. It is beautiful because it's our home, and therefore it reminds us that we're all the same, that we're all connected, and that every action, every decision we make has an impact on our planet. So, when we talk about the climate crisis that has been affecting our planet in several ways, we can break it down into three important questions. First, must we change? Second, can we change? And third, will we change? First of all, must we change? Well, the scientific community has been telling us that yes, we must change. This photo was taken from the International Space Station, and it shows the two lowermost layers of the atmosphere, the troposphere and the stratosphere. It may seem to us that the atmosphere is an infinite space, but actually, compared to the Earth, it is just a thin shell that surrounds us and keeps all living species alive. But the fact is that we are dumping millions of man-made global warming pollution every day. More specifically, we're putting 152 million tons of man-made global warming pollution into the atmosphere every 24 hours. And that pollution, which is specially compounded by carbon dioxide, is trapping heat in the atmosphere. So let's talk a little bit about the basic science about global warming. The energy of the sun comes to us in light waves that pass through the atmosphere. That energy is absorbed by our planet, and some of that energy is re-radiated from the Earth, while some of the heat is trapped by the atmosphere. We know this as the greenhouse effect, which is a natural process that is actually good for our planet as it keeps it at a stable temperature. The problem is that man-made pollution has been trapping more heat energy than is necessary. So it has been causing an unprecedented warming rate on Earth. And as we can see in the image, global warming pollution has many sources coming from human activity, such as deforestation, transportation, coal plants, industrial processes, agricultural practices, and so on. It's important for us to know that the largest source of global warming pollution is the burning of fossil fuels. They provide 80% of the world's energy. And as we can see in the graph, carbon emissions from fossil fuels have increased dramatically since World War II. We can also see that global temperatures have risen dramatically as well. Another surprising fact is that 19 of the 20 hottest years ever measured with instruments have occurred since 2001, and the 5 hottest years on record have occurred in the last 5 years. The hottest year of all was 2016, just 4 years ago. So we can see all the problems of heat in our planet, not only for people, but also for animals and planets. So we can see here an example of that. When we talk about heat energy, we must also consider that it deeply affects the oceans, which then affects the land. More than 90% of the extra heat that is trapped by the atmosphere goes into the oceans, and half of this increase has occurred in less than 20 years. And why does it affect the Earth as a whole? This heat makes ocean-based storms like hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones stronger. As a result, we have faced the effects of extreme events like the record-breaking rainfall that was produced by Hurricane Florence over the coast of the U.S. North and South Carolina states in 2018. The hydrological cycle is also affected by global warming. As the oceans warm, more water vapor evaporates, and more of that vapor is carried over the land. So we can see as the result of that, bigger precipitations events and also floods and mudslides. Extreme precipitation events have become more common since the 1950s. They have occurred in many parts of the world, including the US, like this storm in Montana in 2010, and the floods in southern India in 2015. And why do precipitation and flooding happen in certain areas while in other places there are actually droughts? Well, because the extra heat that evaporates water from the ocean also pulls moisture more quickly from the soil, and that is why there are also longer and deeper droughts. We can see this happening in places like Brazil, my country, which has been affected by droughts and water shortages, like in the state of São Paulo, for example. This picture shows the water supply system in the state during a drought that occurred in 2015 and 2016. Higher temperatures also have a direct effect on wildfires, changing its intensity and its severity. This graph shows that the number of large fires in the western US corresponds to higher spring and summer temperatures. This picture shows a line of cars evacuating due to a wildfire in Alberta, Canada in 2016. And according to the insurance industry, the number of extreme weather events have increased worldwide, with the last 2 years being among the 10 most expensive years in terms of overall disaster losses. We can see the change in this glacier in southwest Greenland comparing two pictures. This one was taken in 1935 And this one is from 2013. This glacier has almost completely melted, and this melting contributes to sea level rise worldwide. Several coastal cities around the world have been affected by floods, like this one in Miami Beach, Florida in 2015. In terms of assets at risk, Miami is actually the number one city at risk, along with other big cities like New York, Shanghai, Mumbai, Tokyo, and others. In terms of population at risk, we can see big cities in developing countries at risk, such as cities in India, Bangladesh, Thailand, and others. The climate crisis is also connected to other social and economic problems, including refugee crisis, endemic diseases, and water and food shortages. The exposure to heat and higher levels of carbon dioxide have impacts on crop yields as well, which is a problem that directly concerns food supply. Climate change is also linked with health issues like infectious diseases, waterborne diseases, and medical cases caused by heat stress and air pollution. Warming temperatures have also an impact on the spread of tropical diseases, such as the Zika virus. The mosquitoes, for example, bring more and warming temperatures, so they become capable of covering a wider range of places. The mosquito that spreads Zika and also dengue and yellow fever is an example of that. We're now at risk of losing up to 50% of all land-based species in this century, and climate change also contributes to biodiversity loss. The World Economic Forum says that climate change is the number one threat to the global economy. So considering all the causes of climate change, like the ones I've already mentioned here, and many others, we can answer that question. Must we change? Yes. Can we change? Absolutely. Good news is we have lots of solutions and we are already putting in practice some of these solutions. Let's talk about the good results we already have and our potential to do more for our planet. Renewable energy is an example of that. The initial projection of wind energy supply worldwide was of 30 gigawatts by 2010, and in 2019, we had exceeded that goal by 22 times over. So global wind energy capacity is growing exponentially. Another very positive fact is that wind energy could supply 40 times more worldwide electricity than the planet currently uses. We also have very good news regarding solar energy. Last year, we already exceeded the projection of 2002 by 121 times. 121 times. Can you imagine? Yeah, it's real. The cost of solar energy has decreased as well. In some regions, for example, it's less than half the cost from burning coal. Solar panels have been used in places where there's no wide access to electricity. This picture shows a solar panel in South Sudan as an affordable alternative, a pay-as-you-go solar power. Look at the growth of solar market in Chile. At the end of 2018, it reached 2.3 gigawatts of installed capacity, and it has an additional 16.67 gigawatts of solar projects approved or under construction. And we cannot forget that every hour the planet gets enough solar energy to meet our power needs for a full year. so we could increase the use of this energy in our favor. Global battery storage in 2016 was almost 2 times the storage capacity in 2011. And the capacity projected for 2040 is expected to reach over 900 gigawatts. Battery storage is a very important solution for storing solar or wind energy, saving it for times when those resources are not available. Batteries are also a critical element of the electric vehicle market. Other efficient technologies like LED lighting are becoming more and more present in the market. And in 2025, it is projected to reach about 95% of the total lighting market. Electric vehicles have been a relevant sustainable option as well. And all these automobile manufacturers are currently offering or preparing to offer electric models. So now I ask you again, can we change? Yes. The last question is, will we change? Of course, there are good news here too. In 2015 in Paris, all nations agreed to take this worldwide commitment of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And though the US has announced its withdrawal from the Paris Agreement, it cannot legally withdraw until the day after the 2020 presidential election. It is just an example of how climate action is part of the public agenda, and therefore it is about all of us, citizens, civil society, organizations, and every other institution. We are seeing the actions people are taking, and we are hearing their voices demanding a solution to the climate crisis. What about joining these voices, using your vote and your choices to fight this challenge? Use your voice, your vote, your choices, and speak truth to power, like your world depends on it. Because your world depends on it. If you want to learn more about the climate crisis and what you can do to help solve it, you can watch the film An Inconvenience Sequel, or you can read the book of the same name. You can also have a tree planted because of this presentation. Just visit 24hoursofreality.org. Let me share the screen so I can show you. Okay, 24hoursofreality.org. You just scroll down and you see this form with all the information about this reforestation project. You just fill out the form and then you're already taking an important climate action. Okay, so remember, you can find in the description below this video all the links to Climate Reality Project website and social media channels, as well as my blog links. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this presentation. Thank you so much. I hope to meet you again soon. Bye.